Hello guys, Red here. Welcome to another episode of Iratus. I did do the voiceover this time. Um, we're going to be looking at the bride of Iratus. So this is like Iratus's missus, man, and she's pretty cool. She's got an awesome looking bra. Her eyes are pretty meaty, and she got a glowing green hand, which is awesome. And she got a bow, which is cool. I mean, she got weird looking feet though. I mean, if I saw those feet like the morning after, I definitely would do a runner. Anyway, so let's crack on with the build. I haven't given upgrades yet on body parts because I wanted to see what the stock values were like. But what I have done is I put a soul gem into her, which give her +3 dread, and I've put a sash in her, which has given her +2 initiative, and that's pumped her initiative up to 8, which is I think is a pretty magic number is 8, and there's actually something that Iratus can have as well, where if all the guys have got 8 initiative, they all get a pretty serious buff, which I don't think I have yet. Let's have a look. I don't think I have it yet. No, I don't. But there's a good chance I pick it up. I picked her up on my 2 other walkthroughs. So 8 is a good number to get to. In terms of abilities, I've made a little bit of boo-boo here, but I'll come to her in a minute. So for her physical attack, now the way we're going to approach this build is purely going to be a little bit of physical attack, no magical attack, which might be a problem later on. But I'm going to get Iratus ready for that. And a lot of stress attack. So this is a stress build, and the only stress that she has is this warning shot, but it's pretty good. It's a pretty good attack anyway. But I'll come to that in a minute. We'll start from the top and we'll work our way down. So for the chest piercer, it does 80% damage, 22 to 26, and the critical hit will do 200%. Now I've taken the +10 precision, and that means the critical hit will be increased to 250%. I'm not really interested in the luck, and that's stun as well. That's kind of cool, but we won't be using the chest piercer that much. We're literally going to be spamming warning shot on this build anyway. Flames of Love. This is a magic attack. It does 14 to 16 damage, 50%. It's not great, but it does set the target on fire. And it's a pretty useful ability if you're running a fire damage build from Iratus, because he does have some fire damage spells that he uses. But I won't be using this much, so I've pretty much taken the +3 for a physical damage, because sometimes she will be using physical damage, but most of the time she'll be spamming warning shot. For Overwatch, I never use this Overwatch. I don't find it very useful at all whatsoever. So I've gone for the +2 armor, and that obviously I think just adds an ignore armor on it. But I'm more interested in this +2 really, and it's not something that we'll be using quite a lot of, if at all. Think of him. The bride gains +4 attack and +4 dread until the end of battle. Now the good thing about this ability is if you go to the right side you get +2 physical and +2 dread, and this also buffs you up to 6 attack and 6 dread. So it gives you an extra 4 physical and an extra 4 dread if you use it on yourself. It's a buff, so you've got to use it on yourself basically. And then we come down to warning shot, and warning shot deals 25 to 27 stress damage. It sends the target that you're shooting at backwards, and it moves you back to the back of the line. So it's a pretty good ability to have, because if you get dragged to the front, you want the ability to get away from the front line. I mean, when I say front line, I mean the first two, because the first two are the front lines, and the second two are the back lines. And what I've done is I've taken the +3. Now this is a mistake because this increases the target's chance to escape by 25%. Now I thought it'd be a good thing because I'm on the hunt for some vampires, and to get vampires you've got to cast something from Iratus. But what you need to be doing is taking the left hand side, which interrupts stances, and it's pretty good thing to have, interrupt stances. Have I done it on her? No, I've gone left hand side. That's a bit of a mistake. Interrupt stances is pretty awesome. And now it says there that it loses, if you have a look at the red helmets, it says that it sends the target backwards, and on there it doesn't, but on there it does. So I got a funny feeling that you lose the ability to send targets backwards, but that interrupt is really super handy, really super handy, because when things go into stance mode, if you don't interrupt them, they can do a massive amount of damage, and there's a lot of that going on as well. So if I was you on first playthrough, take the stress attack, and obviously that'll give you +3 dodge or evade, and you won't get that +3 to luck, so yours is going to be slightly different here. In terms of the physical attack or the wrath attack, now this rolls for the lady is pretty awesome. It deals 50% damage to all 4 of the enemy, and it does 1 critical hit as well. So and the critical hits are just amazing. As far as I've seen so far, this bride does the best damage, physical damage, but we won't be using it hardly at all whatsoever. And the reason for that, on this build alone, if you're running a different build and it's not a dread build and it's a physical build, then this won't matter to you. You take that and you'll be using it whenever you use the wrath. But I can tell you that the headhunter's wrath ability is just super overpowered. If you just have a look at it, he's got a physical attack that does 200% damage, and he's got a 99% chance to kill an enemy. So you'll end up using more, and his 40 wrath as well. So you'll end up using that on this build more than you'll end up using hers. But she is pretty good at finishing off enemies who've got low physical stuff, so it's still a pretty good thing to have. And the reason I don't use wrath is because if I just quickly take you to Iratus's talents, in the Aya tree there's a branch which is solely dedicated to giving your characters buffs when you've got wrath, and this one gives you +2 evade if you're 25 wrath. This one gives you +6 dread if you're 50 wrath. This one gives you +8 vigor if you're 70 wrath, or it gives you like a heal. It gives you an +8 heal on the end of at the beginning of your turn, which is awesome. Obviously, anything heal is a good thing. And the last one, which I haven't got yet, at 100 wrath, it makes all your spells cost 10 mana less, which is kind of cool because the only spell I've got at the minute is this stress damage spell, which costs 8 mana. So I'm half expecting when I get that spell will only cost 1 mana. Don't forget this is early release, so some of these figures will change. Okay, so since I'm running that line, what I'm going to do is all of my build here, I'm not going to do any wrath attacks at all whatsoever. It's literally spamming stress attacks, and obviously we have to do physical attacks sometimes because some characters don't have stress. But her and the headhunter, they go really well together, and they're more than capable of dealing any kind of physical damage that you want. And I think that is it really. On the upgrade side, I would say for her, put on when you go and you go to alchemy and you level up your stuff, or you create new items. Say for instance, when you fill this with, say, purple stuff. Let's have a look. Build. That's got to be, yeah. When you fill this up and you create a purple or legendary item, so try to find stuff that's got I'd say dread. Physical's okay, but dread mainly is what you want to aim at. Like this one's got 1 resistance and 4 accuracy. That's not going to be very good for her. And this one's got 2 dread and 4 luck, which is pretty good. That's the kind of thing that you should be putting on, and that really isn't any good to anybody. So don't forget that when you create these things, they are random. But anything dread based, because she's got pretty good dread damage compared to the rest. The Banshee is just 1 point above her. This guy is a little bit lower, and the Mummy is really good at doing dread damage. But I'll come to these characters one by one, and I'll do the Headhunter next because he's friggin' awesome. And then I'll do the Banshee and then the Mummy. So getting back to her, so that gives her all those stats, and they're pretty cool. And as long as she's stuck at the back line, she's all right. She can take a bit of damage. Her health is quite low, so you really don't want her down the front. And that position for her as well is quite perfect, because I think all of these things, apart from the fire, they pretty much work from her current position. And that one there, that fire, doesn't that send her back? No, it doesn't there. Well, we won't be using that much anyway, not for this build. And I think, boys, I think that is it. So thanks for watching. If you think that I've messed something up, or you think, oh, I'll do this or do that because he'll do this or do that, post a comment and let me know. I'm all yours. Okay? So don't forget to sub because you'll be able to see new videos that I'm putting up. And thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys real soon. Like, real soon.